Shut your mouth podcasting. Shut your mouth podcasting. First round draft pick. Believe we got stats, kid. Quarterback sacking. 100-yard dashing. So tap in for the action.
Welcome to the Sim Podcast Show. I'm your co-host Sirik, and I'm always joined by my co-host Ron. What up, Ron?
What's going on?
You know what we do? We talk about the National Football League on a weekly basis, including the playoffs. Ron, this is season 4, episode 106. How are you feeling? I know the Steelers didn't play last week. Are you fully recovered from last night? Where are you? I know that we usually don't get too political, but where are you?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about politics. I have moved on at this point. And like I was talking earlier before we started recording, the next 4 years, I'm just going to live under a rock and pretend I don't know what's going on. So I'm just going to focus on football from now on. And that's all I want to know about at this point. So I feel good. Last week was weird being on a bye. It was like,
is that why your picks were so bad?
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't too bad. But, there's good and bad, right? When your team's not playing, it's bad because you miss them. But it's good that you just get to relax and not have to worry about your team winning or losing. So it's a little bit of both, like mixed feelings, I guess, for last week. And I'm excited and anxious about this upcoming game this week.
And we'll get to the game. We'll have our NFL news. We'll have our week number 9 recap. We'll do our predictions. We'll do our team's predictions with our upset specials. We'll do some power rankings. And as a wrinkle, we'll do a mid-season recap where we are with our predictions, our forecasts. So let's start out with the NFL news, and let's start out with some trades. Ron, are there any trades that caught your eye that you thought, other than your own team, that you thought, okay, I see what they're doing?
There were definitely a lot. I see some teams really going for it, right? So the Ravens, for example, trading for Tre'Davious White, quarterback from the Rams. They've loaded up already this offseason with Henry, and then they went and got Deontay Johnson a week ago, and now they're getting cornerbacks. So they're preparing themselves for the playoffs. The Lions getting Zadarius Smith. That's a good pickup for them. Obviously, the Steelers, we needed another receiver. We've been talking about that since the offseason, to be quite honest. So they made a trade for Mike Williams, which was kind of expected. But I think what you're seeing is teams that have lost or are losing, that are selling some of their assets and looking to make some trades, and then teams that are in the playoff hunt, trying to get better, trying to get some depth, which is good. There are some head scratchers in here. The Cowboys trading for Mingo is kind of like a head scratcher right now, right? They only got 3 wins. You got some of the analysts on TV saying they should trade everybody, including
Parsons, right?
Parsons. But here they are. They're actually buyers and buying Jonathan Mingo when your quarterback, too, Dak Prescott's out for the next 4 weeks. So that's an interesting move, but it's the Cowboys.
Yeah, there was, if I look at this transaction list, almost every team is getting ready for the playoffs, right? You got the Lions, you got the Commanders, the Ravens, the Steelers, the 49ers, even the Cardinals. But you're right. When it comes to the Cowboys, it's kind of a head scratcher.
Yeah.
Why get a wide receiver when your quarterback is going to be on the injury list? So It doesn't make sense, but I don't have a problem with any of these trades. Maybe the Bengals one, Herbert. I thought they had a pretty good running back in Brown.
It's for depth, for sure.
It has to be for depth, yeah. But everyone else, even Byron Browning, which both of these teams, the Cardinals and the Broncos, are kind of in the hunt, right?
Yeah, they're technically in it. So.
Yeah, so kind of weird, but I guess if you scratch me, I'll scratch your back. So I don't have an issue, and I think yesterday was the deadline, right? It's over. So yeah, I like this trade deadline acquisition for every team. I don't have a problem with it. You have to get yourself ready.
Yeah.
For the playoffs, right?
Yeah, be ready, right?
Be ready.
Because injuries are going to happen. You got to have depth for sure. And then if there's, it's been like 8 games now, right? 9 games now. You know what you got in your team. If there's a certain room, receiver room, DB room, whatever the case that you're lacking, like go out and fix it. Like this is the time to fix it. Your only time to really fix it before, we close out the season, get into the postseason. So it's good that these teams are going for it.
Let's talk about week number 9, Ron. Let's just jump right into the recap. And before we do that, I just want to say, because of the bad week that you had, we're tied now. We're technically tied, 82-82.
I only lost like 2 games, like less than you, right?
No.
Like how bad did I do this past week?
Let's look at it, Ron, because you did not lose just 2 games. You lost
2 fewer than you is what I'm saying.
Yes, and that's all that matters. You did not. You lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 games. 8 games.
Listen,
actually 9 because we both picked the Patriots to win it.
Yeah.
Let us down. So
Miami blew it. They should have won that game. They choked right at the end.
What about Indianapolis? What's your
No excuse. I'm trying to remember that game now.
They were terrible. They didn't even go in the 20-yard line the whole entire game.
That was just a bad call by me then. Carolina, New Orleans. Oh, I won that one. So okay.
What about Jacksonville, Philadelphia? Nick Sirianni was trying to give that game away.
Yeah.
He tried his hardest to give that game away.
Yeah.
But Jacksonville was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful. The Green Bay won. I mean,
could have went either way.
It could not have gone either way.
The game, no. But if you were to look at these teams, you would have thought like it should have been a close game. But
no, what happened was that there were a lot of people out there. The talking heads were like, "Oh, Goff in bad weather. He's terrible. He's gonna be terrible." But what they failed to understand is that the rest of the team is actually pretty good.
Yeah. But Green Bay is a good team too, right? Green Bay has very good defense.
What did I say? I said love is not there yet. He's not the same love from last year.
No,
That's why I did not like that. I did not like Green Bay in that game. And I love Green Bay, but not the way Love is playing. So, yeah. So,
we're needless still tied, to say, though. Still tied.
It is a tie.
Enjoy it.
It is a tie game. And like I said over text, I want you to do those gut picks again.
They're coming.
Do it again.
They're coming.
No, they're not coming because I saw that there was a lot of favors.
I know. Well, I'm not going all out with all these upsets again. But I mean, you and I were for the most part, I think, on the same page when we get to like week 10. We agreed on a lot of them. So
okay, well then before we jump into the mid-season, let's talk about our upset special. We already said Miami let you down.
Yeah.
And then I picked the Denver to beat Baltimore because I was like, maybe the Denver defense will be better. Nope.
Blown the hell out.
Blown out the waters. Mm-hmm. And that was a 9.5 point spread. And they won 41-10.
Yeah. At least my game was close. It was 6.5. I was like, Miami,
Randy said it best. Almost doesn't count.
That's true.
Almost doesn't count. And so our upset specials were, at least mine was really, really bad. And I had no data for it. So if you listen to me out there because you bet on this game, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you. New England against Titans. We both picked New England to win. I picked a lower score. Yours was a little bit higher. The only good player on the offensive team is Drake May.
He had Drake a game, May. Right?
That's it. I mean, if you remove him from the Patriots, they just can't do it.
What was this stat? He accounted for 300 of their 400 yards or something like that.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. If I look at the box score, Drake May, 206 yards total
passing.
And then when I look at the rushing, he led the rush.
But he's been doing that the whole season.
He's an athletic guy, so it's not surprising. But
well, he should. Even if you're an athletic guy, you should not be leading your team in rushing.
When you have to run for your life, yes.
He's not running for it. He's just like
he's like, oh, I'm about to be a sack. I get out of here.
I don't know if it's You're blaming the offensive line. I think it's just like he's taking advantage of his athletic ability and running.
4 sacks, and I don't have the metrics for the rush, but he was rushed almost every play. 1 sack for Mason Rudolph. Stevenson, 16 yards. I mean, what can you say?
I told you, go out and trade for a damn running back. What the hell are we doing here? You've been terrible the entire season. I know.
Trade. Who? First of all, they're not going to. Oh, you're not going to.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not. So why even get a better running back than what you have?
Because you talked about keeping May healthy. This is the way you make him unhealthy. Get him hit is if you have zero running game, and it's been ever since he started. Right?
Ever since it started,
zero running game.
It's almost like they're saying, "Listen, you got Drake May, you don't need to run hard anymore," and it's the opposite. You need to run hard.
Yeah,
now.
You got to protect them.
So it's just terrible.
Yeah,
and I thought the Titans were going to lose this game because no Hopkins, and then Calvin Ridley all of a sudden he's a superstar, 73 yards. 5 catches. I don't understand.
What do you think about the Patriots offense though in May in general? Some ups and downs.
They were in the game. I think people were questioning whether they should have gone for 2 instead of 1. And to be honest, it really didn't matter because the defense was gassed, the offense was gassed. So even if you tie the game, there was no hope in overtime. So, I guess it didn't matter. Going for 2 when your rest of the team is tired. I don't know. And he burned because in the third quarter, they didn't have all the players. I think there were 11 players on a punt return. He had to burn a timeout. Again, first year mistake, rookie coach mistake.
What happened to Javon Baker? Because I swore you sent me a text saying this dude's going to play this week.
He played on special teams, not on offense. He's working himself up. They got to trust him on a special team first before he gets on offense.
Someone is going to have to explain that to me. How that dude can't get on the field when you got guys like, no offense to Kendrick Bourne, but
I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm really, now that you saying maybe they get the number 1 pick and get Travis Hunter, I'm actually on board with them. This is a perfect game, to be honest with you. They came close, they lost, they moved up in the draft order. So
are they number 1 right now? I think they are. They're
number 1 because of the strength of schedule. So. Next week they got the Bears, and we'll talk about that. So let's talk about the mid-season. Let's talk about our over and unders, because we kind of touched on it before we started recording. And let's go with the NFC first. Are there any surprises that you were like,
Well, we got to start with the Cowboys. I talked a little bit about them, right?
Well, you said they were going to go over.
Yeah, 9.5 was
under.
a prediction. So 9.5 wins. You said under. I don't think you would have had them at 3 wins, which is where they're at right now, 3-5. Would you have guessed that they'd be 3-5 right now and maybe not even get anywhere close to 9 wins, 9.5 wins?
No, but because of their off season, everything was questionable. It was questionable, and the fact that they came into the season with no running back, very questionable. And now, no Dak, CeeDee Lamb. I don't even know who's going to throw him the ball. Yeah. I don't know who Dak's backup is. So
The Commanders, another surprise, right?
That is a big surprise.
Huge surprise.
Huge surprise.
They've already beat their over-under target. It was 6.5. Were they at 7 wins right now? What's their record right now? They are currently at 7-2. So they've already exceeded their projection, which is insane.
Let's talk about the NFC North. We both went over on the Lions and Packers, which they're 1-2 right now. We went under on the Vikings, and you actually went over on the Bears. Are you still sticking to that?
No. Not liking. They're 4-4. They have plenty of time to get to 8.5 wins,
Which would be 9.
9 wins, basically. I'm not looking at their schedule right now. I know it's a tough schedule though, but with the way that team is looking and they're starting, there's a lot of friction, it seems like.
Friction from what?
I don't know. What's his name? Their top receiver was on some podcast.
Moore?
Yeah.
DJ Moore? He just got a contract.
But they were asking him on a podcast, right, this week. Something about, what was it? What were they asking him? Something about like the head coach, if he's lost the locker room, I think, right? And he was like, oh, I wouldn't say no, but, blah, blah, blah. That's how he answered it. Like,
very vague.
Very vague. So there seems to be some sort of friction there. Caleb Williams is not developing. He's playing hero ball a lot, which he did in college. But he's doing that in the NFL. He's not he's not going through his routes, right, and throwing to the guy that's open. He's trying to make a bigger play that's not there. That's development. And, there's just a lot of fatigue and anxiety and stress. And, they're getting pissed off. So I don't see them getting to 9 wins, just the way things are going.
I just thought from day one it was too much hype for a rookie quarterback. And I didn't believe the hype. I don't believe him, and the coach, Matt Eberflus, I don't believe in him. So next year when he gets fired and Mike Vrabel is hired, I'm definitely going to pick Doe. But I just never believed in it. NFC South.
Before you get there, we both chose the under for the Vikings. It was 6.5, and they're already at 6 wins, right? So, yeah, they're at 6 wins. So they're obviously going over that, I would think, unless they have a monumental failure.
I mean, it is Sam Darnold, so I'm surprised. I'm surprised that they won last week, but wasn't it a close game?
No, they did pretty good. They found like Jordan Addison.
Oh, it was at Colts, right? It was NFC South. Any surprises here?
No. I think our predictions are pretty much on.
They're just the Falcons we didn't agree on. You went over, I went under. So you think that they're going to get to 10 wins?
I still think they could. They are at 6-3 right now, so they could. Are they the best team in that division? I'm not ready to commit to that, even though the Bucs just lost. They're still an impressive 4-5 team, I think. And I think when they get healthy, Evans comes back and stuff, they can still challenge for that division. So I don't think it's a guarantee and a lock that they get to 10 wins.
Well, 10 wins for the Falcons and 8 wins for the Bucs.
Yeah.
I just don't like the defense for the Bucs or the Falcons. And then I actually liked what I saw from Mayfield, even though the receivers are known, right? No Godwin, no Evans.
Leading the league in touchdowns.
Bucky Irvin is doing his thing. Who knew?
I think he's also leading the league in interceptions, or tied for the lead.
Yeah, but he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He'll throw 3 a game, but as long as he throws 4 touchdowns, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
This is probably like the one that the NFC West. You went over when the 49ers. I went under. 12 wins. Do you think they make 12 wins?
I think they can still get to 12 wins, but that would mean them going like one more loss, I think, right? They're 4-4 right now, but they are starting to get a little bit healthy now. So I still think they can get to 12 wins, but I think it'll be close.
I just I like the Rams a lot. I like the Cardinals for some reason. I wrote them off like day one, and now all of a sudden they're 5-4 and leading the division. And spoiler alert, they actually cracked my power ranking. So
That's 5-4.
They're 2-0 in the division. I'm sorry, but you beat the 49ers. I think they beat, was it the Rams? Yeah, they beat the Rams. It's just basically the two best teams in that division because Seattle is a mess right now. I think they lost 4 in a row now. So it's just, 2 in a row they lost the streak. So, and Arizona has a 3-game winning streak. They have a, -7 point differential. So they're scoring points. Yeah, I don't know. I guess Arizona, Kyler Murray. And is he going to make it past 10 weeks though? That's the question.
Yeah.
Is he going to make it past? Ron, let's go into the AFC East. We both went. Actually, this is all over the place. So we both went. For some reason, I picked the over on the Patriots. You went under. 5 games.
4.5.
And I think that was at the beginning of the season. Yeah. I think they're down to like 4 games. They basically have a pretty good quarterback now.
I know.
And they still can't win games. So
I know. That's pretty bad. I shouldn't laugh, but Jesus.
The Bills, you went under, I went over. It's 11 games.
They're at 7 wins right now, so.
The Dolphins, you went over, I went under.
But there's, injury there, right? We didn't know Tua was going to be out for like 3 games, but, he's been back now. Is this his second game back or first?
Second.
He lost both, I think, so.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're definitely not going to get to 10 games. The Jets, we both went over. I know why I went over. Why did you? Explain that.
I have no. I bought into the BS freaking hype.
Oh, now you're admitting it, huh?
They are terrible. No, oh my God, they are terrible. They're not a good team. Like their defense is overrated. Rodgers is a terrible person. Period.
Terrible person, terrible quarterback.
Yeah.
Throw his receivers on the bus.
Yeah. It's
never his fault. He loves the darkness. I mean, you can go on and on.
Shame on us for going over there. What the hell were we thinking?
I don't know. This one and the NFC West are 2 divisions that are head scratchers, except for the Patriots. I mean, we knew the Patriots were bad, but
yeah.
AFC North. On the Ravens, we both went over 11 games. I think they'll get to that. On the Browns, you went under, I went over. Wow.
You were wrong there, buddy.
And I think when was it? Like game number 2, I was like, I'm out. I'm on the Browns.
2 wins right now for the Browns.
Terrible.
And a new quarterback, and I don't even know who the receivers are at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. The Steelers, we both went over, so they're definitely going to get 9 games. The Bengals, we both went under. We didn't believe that they'll get to 11 games. What's the record now?
They are at 4-5, and honestly, they're a scary 4-5 right now because Burrow has it going. That offense is playing good. The defense is still lagging behind, but if they ever get that fixed, they're going to be a team that definitely plays spoiler. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs. I'm never going to rule them out because they are always a second half team, but they're certainly going to be spoilers for some team.
AFC South. Texans, we went over 10 wins. Can they still reach 10 wins? What's their record now?
The Texans are sitting on top of the division at 6-3.
Yeah, they'll get to 10 wins.
Yeah, but they've looked terrible getting to 6 wins.
Yeah, but that division is so bad that and really it doesn't take much to win. Jaguars, we both went over.
They're 2-7.
They're not gonna get to. Why is Doug Peterson still coaching?
I don't know. Yeah. He's in the hot seat though, I would think.
The Colts, you went over, I went under. 9 wins.
They're 2-7 right now. And not only did I have them going over, Sirik, I had them in
winning the division, right?
AFC South. Holy moly.
I never bought into the Richardson stock.
Yeah.
He looked terrible in the preseason games. He looks terrible now. Even with Joe Flacco in, they're still not winning games. So I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Do they go back to Richardson and be like, maybe this will help you develop? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. The times you went over?
But
What?
it was 6.5, so they get to 7.
What's isn't it at 2 wins? Right?
They are at 2-6 right now.
And you think they're gonna win 7 games? You just had this division all wrong, huh?
I did. What else can I say?
Yeah, this AFC West. We went with the Chiefs. We went under 12 wins, and it looks like they're gonna get 12 wins for sure. Wow. I think it was a disdain. It was a disdain. We were like, oh, Casey.
Yeah.
The Raiders, we both went under because really it's the Raiders. The Broncos, we went over.
Yeah.
And it looks like we might hit that one.
They're already at 5 wins. They're 5-4 right now.
Chargers, you went under, I went over. I think they might get 9 wins.
They're 5-3 right now, so they might get there.
They might get there. Ron, who is your playoff pick for the NFC?
All right, NFC. I had the Eagles winning the East, Lions the North, Falcons South, 49ers the West. And then my wildcard teams, I had the Bears, Cowboys, and Packers.
Yeah, you can basically scratch off 2 of those wildcard teams. So I had the Eagles, Lions, Bucks, Seahawks, and then I had the Niners, Packers, LA Rams making the wildcard. So the only ones that's really,
I think all those teams still
they have a chance.
Yeah.
They have a chance. So I'm not, there's no change. What about the AFC?
I had the Dolphins, Ravens, Colts, Chiefs, division winners. And then for my wildcard teams, I had the Steelers, Texans, and Bills. So obviously the Colts and the Dolphins. Whew, missed them both.
You missed the Colts. I missed the Jets. I don't know why I thought, please forgive me, Buffalo Bill fans, because I thought the Jets were going to win this division. I was wrong. I'm still holding on to the Steelers winning the North. Then I picked the Jaguars, another terrible team. The Chiefs, of course. And then for my wild card, I have the Ravens, Texans, and Bills. So we actually have the wild card pick. We just have the divisions all wrong. Yeah, so we're still holding on to our NFC champions.
Yep, I still got, my Super Bowl champion as the Ravens, right? Yep.
And I have the Lions.
Still a chance.
There's still very much a chance with the Ravens, especially now that they made those trade moves. So that was our mid-season recap for our over and unders and our playoff spots. So Ron, let's do our predictions for week 10. And I want to start out by that Thursday night game.
Big game.
Big game.
Yeah.
The Bengals at the Ravens. Baltimore has a 6-point spread. Over and under is 52.5. Ron, what's your prediction?
I was just talking about how well Bengals are playing. Ravens still have a lot of issues on defense, but they traded for a cornerback. Hopefully, for them that helps. Honestly, I would go with the Bengals, but I think given the history of those two teams, Baltimore has the edge on them all the time, consistently. So I'm going with Baltimore to win that one.
This is their second meeting, right?
For the season, I think there might be their first for the season.
I thought I saw something where the Bengals were this is their second meeting, and the first meeting was won by the Bengals, 41-38. Right. This kind of worries me if it gets into a shootout, because
Yeah.
I feel like Derrick Henry gets left behind, right?
Yeah.
Because they get into a shootout. So I went back and forth on this one. I ultimately picked Baltimore because Deontay Johnson is going to make a difference. If the Baltimore plays better defense than Bengals, which we know that Bengals have defense, they can actually win this game, but I'm definitely picking the over. I think both of these teams are going to score a lot of
52.5. Let me ask you this. If Cincinnati wins and they're 5-5, what does that say about them? Do you think they have a chance?
They have a wild card.
Not the division.
Not the division, I don't think so. Unless they just start winning division games left and right?
Yeah,
so,
and keep in mind, Steelers haven't played a division game yet. Division's still wide open.
We'll talk about the Browns. The next game, this is a Germany game. This is a terrible, terrible game. The Giants at Panthers. You say you're not going to wake up?
No, not at all.
The Giants are favored by 5 points. 41.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
I got the Giants winning 5 points. I don't think they'll ever be favored by that much against any other team. Besides Carolina, they should win this one. I got the Giants.
I saw a tweet, or maybe I saw it on Instagram. The Giants haven't been favored in 24 straight games. This is the first game where they actually favored. I don't know what that says about the team. I picked the Giants because I think Bryce Young is going to be starting for the Panthers.
Yeah, he has been now for a couple weeks.
Right? I still like the Giants. I like their defense. So let me get the Giants. The next game, the Bills at the Colts. For some reason, Buffalo is favored by 4. 45.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
Buffalo in a blowout.
I don't know, why is it only 4 points though? That's kind of worry me. Do they really think that the Buffalo defense is that bad? Like the Colts are gonna score points? I mean, give me Buffalo, but still, it makes me question that spread. The next game, Broncos at Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 8. 41.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
Kansas City, and I know divisional games are tough, but this one's in Kansas City, which is extremely tough to play in. So Kansas City should win this one pretty easily.
What did you think about that Kansas City Bucks game?
I thought the Bucks blew it. I thought for the most part, they had a lot of momentum. I think they should have went for 2 at the end of the game instead of just the tie. I thought the Bucks blew it.
You know, I was kind of watching that game in and out, and then when I look up and it was like overtime, I was like, "What?
Yeah,
overtime?" And then as soon as they lost it, the
Bucks to me looked like the better team, but I can say that about every Kansas City game this year. Kansas City has not been impressive, but they found ways to win, and that's the difference when you have Mahomes as your quarterback. You just find a way at the end. Tampa Bay, I think, they couldn't stop Mahomes at the end, and then they went down and scored, didn't go for 2, and then when Kansas City got the ball, the game was over. You just knew they were going to go down and score a touchdown.
Yeah, I just knew. Talking about the Bucs, the next game is Niners at Tampa. 49ers are favored of 5.5. 51.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
You got the Bucs sitting here with 4 wins, 4-5. This almost feels like a must-win for them. I still got them losing to San Francisco.
I saw that McCaffrey's practicing now, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to suit up for this.
Probably not.
I still got the Niners. They're coming off a bye week. I think they're going to be ready for the Bucs. They know Mayfield's going to probably throw a couple of INTs. And I'm going to stop giving Purdy his flowers. He hasn't played to but I still got the Niners winning. The next game, the Vikings at Jaguars. Vikings are favored by 4. 47.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's the prediction?
I'm going with Minnesota. I don't trust Jacksonville. I'm just going with Minnesota.
47.5 seems high, but then like when you put in the third quarter and Minnesota is up 21-7, you know that's like Trevor Lawrence time. He's just gonna order some throw touchdowns and be like, "Oh, this is a Colts game." No, it's not. No, it's not. They're gonna do something dumb at the end. So give me Minnesota Vikings to win this one. Next game, Titans at Chargers. Chargers are favored by 8 points, which is same as Kansas City. Over and under is 37.5. Ron, what's your prediction?
I'm going with the Chargers. I think they have a pretty good team, probably better than I thought they would be. This is a game they should win if they want to be in the mix for the playoffs. 37.5 seems low to me, but give me the Chargers.
Give me the Chargers to dominate this game. At 37.5 is because they're not really in the business of scoring points. They're in the business of playing good defense and running the ball. So give me Chargers to win this one. The next game, Eagles at Cowboys. Eagles are favored at 7.5. 41.5 is a point differential. Ron, what's your prediction?
Philly, another divisional game, but no Dak Prescott, no running game for Dallas, no chance for the Cowboys. Give me Philly to win this one.
Give me Philly to win this one, and give me Philly to make this game a close game for some reason.
Sirianni, there's a Sirianni effect that he's gonna like F this one up.
7.5 is high for the spread because at the end, Philly will make a game out of this. That's just the way that the year's going. So yeah, give me Philly to win this one. But that spread, they're not gonna beat them by 7. Next game, the Jets at the Cardinals. For some reason, Arizona is only favored by 1. 46.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
I have the Cardinals. Now, this should be a decent game, though, right? It's in Arizona. Jets are coming off a win, although they weren't that impressive.
10-day rest, right? Because they played on Thursday.
But give me Arizona to pull this one off.
I went back and forth on this one because I was like, do I pick the Jets? It just came off a win, like you mentioned. And if they win, all of a sudden the narrative changes for some reason because it's New York. Ultimately, I landed on Arizona because they, 2 games in a row, top of the division. I think they're feeling themselves right now, so give me Arizona. Next game, Detroit Lions at Houston Texans. This is a Sunday night game. Detroit favored by 3.5. 49.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
Give me Detroit. Houston's sitting at 6-3. I expected a little bit more from their offense, to be honest with you. And I think Nico Collins is back at practice today, but I'm still going with Detroit. That offense for Houston, there's just something. I know Mixon's playing and he looks better, but there's still something off with them offensively. So give me Detroit.
Yeah, give me Detroit. I mean, to me, I know that my power rankings don't show it, but to me, Detroit is the best team. I think they only have 1 loss, right? Texans, they just lost Anderson, which was one of their top pass rushers. If you let Goff all day, he'll just destroy you. So give me Detroit. Monday night game, Dolphins at the Rams. 2.5 points, the Rams favorite. 50.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
I got the Rams, and I just want the Dolphins to be put out of their misery. That's what you kind of feel like. So I think the Rams are going to do. Their offense is no joke. It's serious. They can beat teams. So, I know Tua's back. I don't know if that means they haven't really looked that much better, to be honest with you. So give me the Rams to win it.
If you look at the landscape, who are your 3 top offenses right now?
Top offenses: Detroit, Commanders, and
Baltimore? Say Baltimore?
Yeah, Baltimore put up a lot of points. I was initially thinking, what was I thinking? The Vikings, but I'll say Baltimore.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you. I was going to say the Bucks offense, but they're not very consistent. I think the three that you mentioned are consistent. They're doing their thing. They're scoring points, whether it's a running game, whether it's a passing game. Yeah, I definitely see why we chose them in that Super Bowl. Ron, New England at Chicago. The spread is 6 points for Chicago. 39.5 is the over and under. What's your prediction?
So we agreed on every single pick that we went through until we get to our teams. I know I said New England would win last week and they didn't. I'm going with them to pull off an upset here. 6 point spread for Chicago, I think is a lot. I talked about a little bit of like friction going on in Chicago. I think New England's going to go there and pull off an upset, 23-20.
I went back and forth on this one, but because we picked them, I think we picked them like 2 weeks in a row for New England to win, and they still didn't win. I picked Chicago to win this one, 21-17. And I always say Chicago's going to be stuck at 4 until they play the Patriots, because Drake May cannot do it alone. He just can't. I think Christian Barmore is at practice this week.
Okay, that's good.
So that's good, but he's not going to be ready for this game. I just feel like this still, Jerome Mayo has a long way to go. So I picked Chicago to win this one. Pittsburgh at Washington. Washington is favored by 3 points. 45.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
This should be a prime time game. I think there's going to be a lot of fireworks in this game. I can see why Washington would be the favorite. They should be the favorite, to be quite honest, the way they've been playing this season. So I want to give them credit. I do think there's going to be a lot of Steelers fan in the stands. So
it's close by.
Yeah, I don't think this is necessarily going to be a home field advantage here. And maybe this is a little bit of just my bias. But the Steelers are healthy. We got our center back. We have our backup defensive end back. Who else we got back? We got Cordell Patterson back to do kick returns and meet a third down back. I just feel coming off a bye week, and maybe this is just my gut and some bias, like I said, the Steelers defense and offense will finally click and get things together. And we're going to pull this one out in a tough battle. 27-24 is my score. Again, it should be a primetime game. It's a 1 o'clock game. We give me the Steelers to win this one.
Yeah, I also have the Steelers winning 24-17 because I like the Steelers defense, and I think they're going to figure Daniels, not completely, but I can see having like a Chicago Bears type game where they get a lot of field goals at the beginning. And we all know that Steelers are a second half team. So I think that they'll figure it out and be like, oh, they're doing this.
Did you have Washington winning this initially, though?
No.
No? You had? Okay. All right.
No. I always had Pittsburgh because I want my money. So I'm not going to go against Pittsburgh. My upset special, because your upset special is the same, right?
Yeah, I doubled down on the Patriots. They were my upset special.
That is a Ron classic, doubling down. I actually went with Atlanta at New Orleans. I actually have New Orleans pulling the upset 24-20. They have a new coach. Dennis Allen is out. I don't know if... I'm just thinking about the girl that does the skit every week. Annie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what her last name is. And he was like, great job, David Carr. You got Dennis Allen fired twice. And I was just like, wow, that is a fact. That is a fact. So if they can't win this game with no Dennis Allen, I don't know what else
That
What
team
else you can
is
say about it?
terrible, though. Like, I mean, to be quite honest, they're just not a good team.
They're not a good team. They're just not. And I like the offensive coordinator when Carr is there.
Yeah.
Now when was Rattlers there, I like Carr. And look at what happened. They lost to the Panthers last week. Ron, who is in your power ranking?
All right. Not a lot of change from my rankings last week. Detroit, I have at number 1. I think they're the best team, to your point, in the league. They were number 1 last week, so no change. I still got Kansas City at number 2. They're undefeated. I still, there's still some questions about how they're playing, but they're at number 2. I moved Baltimore all the way up to number 3. They were at 5 before. I think with the pieces that they just picked up, that we talked about with their trades, I think that's going to make them a really, really strong team going forward. I got Buffalo at number 4, so they were at number 3 before. I got Green Bay at number 5. I dropped them down 1 spot. I moved Pittsburgh from number 7 to number 6. At Washington, I moved them from number 9 to number 7. Minnesota, I dropped them from number 6 to number 8. Philly, I got at number 9. And then Atlanta, I moved them into the top 10, right at 10, and I pulled Houston out of my top 10.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all your rankings. I would definitely have Detroit number 1. It's just that I can't have an undefeated team not be number 1. Listen, they're doing it with smoke and mirrors. I don't know. We all know that Mahomes is not having the best year, but is there a chance that if somehow Kansas City goes undefeated, he gets the MVP?
Yeah.
I mean, that is just a fact. So I have Detroit number 2. I have Buffalo at number 3. Baltimore number 4. Washington at 5. I got Minnesota at 6. Pittsburgh at 7. Philly at 8. Don't ask me why, because I don't really like Dick Sirianni at all. I have the Chargers coming in because I kicked Green Bay out. And then my biggest surprise, Arizona at number 10, because I got Houston out. So Arizona, out of all these teams, they're the ones that it's just a head scratcher. Like, how are they doing it?
Well, I don't necessarily question Arizona. They're at 5 wins, but I think they were a strong 5-win team. The one I'm concerned about is the Chargers. So I thought about the Chargers, putting them in when I looked at the standings, but then I went back and I looked at who they've played and who they've beaten. These are the teams the Chargers have beaten: the Raiders, the Panthers, the Broncos, the Saints, and the Browns. Those are not impressive teams at all.
I agree with you. I mean, if I look at the AFC West and I look at the team that scored the least amount of points, is the Chargers. But they're also the team that has allowed the least amount of points.
Yeah, their defense is good.
Their defense is really good. 101 points allowed. The next team is the Chiefs at 147. So their defense is definitely carrying them right now. To your point, they haven't played anybody. And to be honest, in their division, other than the Chiefs, we don't know what the Broncos. Sometimes, some weeks they're good, some weeks they're bad. The Raiders are just playing bad.
And the reason why I agree with your Cardinals, even though I don't have them in my top 10 just yet, the reason why it does make sense, if I look at their losses, it's to the Bills. It's to the Lions, the Commanders, and the Packers. Those are all good teams. So, it's not like they're losing to like scrubs. I think they are a good team, and worthy of being in the top 10. I just don't have them in there yet. But things can change for sure.
I mean, they scored enough points. They're 2-0 in the division, 3-3 in the conference. So yeah, they definitely deserve to be there. They have the worst record of the top 10 that I have. So again, it's just the way they played. They play good teams.
Yeah.
Really good teams. So next week is week 11, episode 107. Ron, what do you want to tell the Steelers fans out there?
Big week this week. I think this is going to be a litmus test, if you will, because I think everyone expects the Steelers to be in the playoffs. The question really is going to be, how good can we be? Are we a 10-win team that sneaks into the playoffs? Is this a 12-win team that has a chance to win a playoff game? I think this game against Commanders are really, tell you what kind of team we are. If we go out there and win, or just even be competitive, I think we have a strong team. If we go out there and lose and looked horrible doing it, then we're not as impressive as we've looked the last 2 weeks. So it's a big game, but I have a lot of confidence in Russell Wilson and the Steelers. I think they'll show up this week, and it should be a good game regardless.
I mean, the AFC North is a better division than the NFC East, and in my opinion anyways. And I don't know if let me just take a look at who the Commanders have played up to this point, because I don't think that they played other than, they beat the Bucks, which they're up and down. They beat the Bengals, which it was early in the season. They only lost to a really good team, and that'd be the Ravens. So I think the Steelers have a really high chance of beating the Commanders this week, because they haven't really played anybody. They played the Browns when Watson was there. So yeah. I like as far as the Patriots, just keep doing what you did this week, right? Keep in the game,
but lose.
Keep it tight, but lose. Because Drake May needs help. Point blank. Needs help. And, let's get those draft picks. Just stock up on those draft picks. Because we're not going to get trades. We're not going to get free agents to come here. There's no Tom Brady. So just do what the Detroit Lions did. Just build that roster with the draft. Maybe, if Hutchinson goes out like he did, just trade for a player. But yeah, just keep it close. And that's why I got them losing. Keep it competitive, but just lose again. Because what are the receivers? Travis Hunter is out there, right?
Yeah, so Hunter plays both ways, right? So he's probably I'd say the third best receiver coming out. But by far the best defensive back coming out. So he's a great two-way player. It'll be interesting to see. He wants to play both ways when he gets to the NFL. I think he will be able to play both ways. He's a ridiculous athlete. But outside of him, there's a McMillan, I think, from Arizona that's really good. There's some Burton, who's a smaller guy that's good. There's some okay players. It's not strong, and it hasn't really been strong the last couple of years. But the top guys are pretty good. So if you're going to get one, you got to get one early, like the first round for sure.
Yeah, I'm not mad at a 2-7 record. Hunter
would be perfect because he can play. He can be your number one receiver, right? And then he can be your, for the Patriots, he'll be the number 2 defensive back.
Quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, because Gonzalez is just that good. So, I think that would be such a big deal for the Patriots if they can get him.
It would be a big deal, and maybe he'll get better conditioning than Richardson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have anything to add?
That's it, man. Let's enjoy the games.
Let's enjoy the game this week.
That's really it.
Forget about what happened last night. Just go on with life. Things are gonna be better. It's not the end of the world. So just peace and love. Peace and love. That's all I'm asking. Just peace and love. That's all. That's all I'm asking. Peace and love. So with that said, I say peace.
Peace. All right, that's it, guys. That's the end of the show. Thanks so much for all your support and listening today. If you got any questions, comments, feedback, feel free to email us at simsportsmedia@gmail.com. That's portsmedia@gmail.com. Peace.